It's the Tonya Burns Show. Tune in right now. Like and share. Our city needs that file. Flint City News got truth to share. When we fight the darkness, we repair. Won't give up. We're standing tall and proud. Voices rising strong, no longer shrouded. Residents deserve what's right and fair. Together we can lift the despair. We fight, we win, we break the chains. Tonya Burns won't stand out in the rain. Our city dreams will make them true. With every step it all renews. Renew, step it all renews.
Hey, look, we are live. Good Sunday. Turn back or jump forward, spring forward is where we are at right now. Oh, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. And I am sorry for the delay. We had a few little technical problems because, I've been on in a minute. So listen, drop in the chat where you are from. Drop in the chat and where you are from. So, hey, Jeremiah Jackson, how are you doing? He said, I'm from the east side of Detroit. How you doing? Hey, Chris Caleb. Hey, Country Bama. But let me stop right there. Let me thank, number one, my producer who produces my show, Jonathan Eaton. Jonathan Eaton is where we had a few little technical difficulties because I ain't picked up nothing to do nothing. And so listen, be kind to him and, feel kind and drop in a, JEatonMedia at his Cash App. I cannot do this without him. I cannot. And he has been working hard. And to my two, the please Cash App is $ Jake, and it's smaller Eaton Media. It is also on the scroll at the bottom. Also, I want to say thank you to my two moderators we have on here, Patrick Jean, and we also have Sheena Becton. They will be moderating the chat and keeping things going. So look, we will not be on here for no 6 hours, okay? Because I literally had that conversation yesterday. We will not, I promise y'all. We're not going to be on for 5 because what we're going to do is go back to our Saturday at 10 and then, throughout the week. And I think people were thinking, oh, why are we on so long? Because I couldn't keep up. There's so much that be going on, and I would explain. But what I told them was the people who watch, which I appreciate all of you, y'all didn't drop. When we watched, it went up, and went up or went up and stayed. It never went up, it went down. It did not. But we got a lot we're going to talk about. So now I'm going to go back. Y'all look, click like, share, and subscribe. Click like, share. So we got Jeremiah in here. I ain't going nowhere. Gutter Black. Now, I like saying that. From Dallas. We got Carolyn Hendricks. Good evening. Denise Cousins with her giddy up. Get him up and let him rise. Is that what it is, Denise? We got Taya. Hey, Tia. We got Avis Hopkins. Hey, we got JP6. Hey, Cheryl Hart, good evening. Tasha Lynn, Kawana Mac, I miss you. I miss you getting your little rhymes together when you be up, you come up there and you be at the podium. I appreciate your advocacy because you stood up when you had staff members wanted to literally jump on you with this administration. And that is the truth. And she continued to come until men who were on the staff wanted to fight a lady. Just insane. Let's see, Marcia Tolber. Hey, Miss California. Good evening. Good evening. Let me see. Deborah O'Neill. How you doing? How you doing? Look, I'm trying to catch up. I do not have all my devices. Hey, Debbie and Diane, how y'all doing? Look, the Wonder Twins who keep going in their advocacy, they were out with Tonya Jones yesterday. I think, was it yesterday? Was it today? Feeding the unhoused population that they've done throughout. They are part of the Color Law Coalition, and that group of people, women and one gentleman, are just phenomenal, and they show up for the people. Martha Thomas, how are you doing? And Johnson Porchester, hello, how you doing? And y'all, look, my voice sounds much worse than I feel. I promise y'all. I promise you. So, and I'm going to talk about that because it's funny. I was talking to, when people say who have been calling me over the past 4 weeks, they're like, oh, you sound so much better. But for those who I haven't talked to, they're like, oh, you sound so bad. No, I was bad 3 weeks ago and 2 weeks ago. So if you are flying on an airplane, wear a mask, okay? Don't share these germs. We got this flu season. It is here and it is prevalent. It is prevalent. So, oh, hey, producer Jay. Look, he in here. He had called to check on me. And let me say, I appreciate everyone who called to check on me to see how I was doing. And I even appreciate the ones who said, why is you at the city council meeting? It is so much going on. So much going on. So much. New one. Hey, new one. And so, Christine Chandler, how you doing? And so I can't see everything, y'all. I can't. You know, I got a couple things. I knew was I was going on to before the council meeting, which is tomorrow. The council meeting on Wednesday racked my nerves, and I decided that I needed to go because there were so many serious issues that were on there. Hey, Reed Johnson, hey. And if y'all on the Facebook side, they got that fixed. I didn't do it, okay, because your girl couldn't do anything. I did not do it. So I want to say thank you to Jonathan Eaton and also to Sheena Beckton. And then I still have a very good relationship with producer Jay, and they all worked that out. So the three of them got the Facebook side on and together because I didn't do it. I pretty much did what my doctor said. And he said, don't do nothing but rest. And I was like, well, what does that look like to you? And that was a whole conversation because my ideal of rest and his were not the same. We're not the same. So listen, click like, share, and subscribe. If y'all could please do that for me. And so, hey, Country Ray, thank you for the $9.99. Ms. Burns, we need you to run for mayor. You truly have the heart of the people. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I ain't got the voice right now. And I was trying to save my voice for tomorrow. But I wanted to go into this meeting sharing with the public, which are all of you, the truth. And we're going to get into some things. Hey, Deborah Luna, how are you doing, beautiful? Hey, Yvette Bailey, how are you doing? And who else we got on here? Felicia Martin, how are you doing? And happy Sunday too. And if I missed your name, charge it to my my mind and not to my heart. I cannot see everything. I cannot. And so, and Facebook's like, I can't see nothing y'all doing on Facebook. I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot. One of the things I tried to do when I was off, I had to get a new iPad. My son told me, Mom, you need to know iPads don't last forever. I'm like, I don't need you getting smart with me, but I do understand that. So I had to go get a new iPad. And I had to get another new phone. And I got one more phone that I have got to replace. But I just couldn't make it. I was 2 devices to change. And by the third one, that was all the energy I had. I had to go home. So I got one more device that I need to change, to update, because my devices aren't connecting. And in my ward, we have absolutely terrible cell service. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's a hoopty parking lot here in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, why she put on it? She got 80-degree weather. We warm. I bet there was some people out there wearing shorts today. But look, we jealous about that. Jealous. Marcia, please step away from the lecture. I'm about to have a new fire truck. Yeah, we ought to have all the fire trucks replaced at this point. He this bells was, but we don't get into this because we're not going. I'm just happy to be with y'all. I am. So listen, one of the things, let's start, Jonathan. Let's start with ARPA. So some of the things we're going to get into. We're going to talk about that $40 million. I first talked about that right when it was on our agenda. That was what, 3 years ago, when they voted to put that 40 million into the ARPA fund. And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna also talk about that. That whole council meeting was a lot. It was a lot. We're gonna talk about, so yeah, leave that up while I'm saying what are we gonna get into. We're gonna talk about service lines being replaced, which is misguiding the people. We're gonna talk about the police union. There, no, that whole conference, which I felt it was a dog and pony show, and misleading the people. And we're gonna talk about the ARPA committee. Remember that ARPA committee that Mayor Neely put on there, and then we took it to court, me and Councilman Mays, and it came back and said that it was an illegal committee that appropriated all these funds. And if it's more, and the city charter states there's more than one member, then it is a multi-board member. And I forget how many that they had on there. And it wasn't the people, it was the fact that this mayor refused to follow any guideline. He refused to tell the truth. The service lines are not replaced. And so when we get this, people get mixed signals and they don't know who to believe. And that's why, number one, I went to that counseling. There's too many things that we need to talk about. Too many things. We're going to talk about that MS4 licensing. We're going to talk about that. And then what we're going to do, and I'm going to give it out to JEaton, a big shout out to 810 Flint. Xavier does a good job of reporting and creating a video library for things. He does a great job. And I'm going to be using his video because I couldn't have did it better. I mean, he took the time, he captured it, and kudos to you, Xavier. If you are watching, thank you for keeping the video library, and it was accurate. It was accurate. So I want to start out. It says, one of the things is important. When you are in a room with negative people, if you're in a room with 3 negative people, you're going to be the 4th one. And then what your grandparents would say, and your mamas and your daddies and the aunts and the wise people, if you're in a room with 4 broke people, you're going to be the 5th. And so one of the things that I believe is having people who fight for you in rooms you aren't in is a blessing. That is a blessing. Because the question is, when someone was telling you something about me and you knew it to not be true, did you correct them? Did you correct them? And what we have become so comfortable with in government, and we can say with the federal government, we can say locally, is people say things and no one corrects them. And I believe in correcting lies because I've seen them get legs, grow, and they don't walk, they run. They take off like Jesse Owens at the Olympics. And so you have to stop and correct it. The things that are happening now, you can tell this campaign season, which I said in my seat, because you can get almost anything that you want. I got people around who smile in my face and talking about me. I'm like, I'm not for everybody. What I am for is the people. I am for the people, and I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to quit being transparent. When I explain things to the public, I put up the documentation where it comes from. Now, these 4 weeks, I had a lot of time to do a lot of reading. I couldn't do nothing else. Couldn't do nothing else. Nothing. So we're going to have some good shows because I want to give you facts and information that you can use. I want people to feel confident making decisions. And when you speak about a topic, that you can say, not only was it talked about, I showed where it came from. Or as we say, we got the receipts. And that's something that's important. And that is what I do. And so we're going to start off with 8:10, and along the way, we're going to pause the video. So we're going to do these 21 minutes and I think 2 seconds together because Xavier did a great job. And when it's time to pause, we're going to put up some documentation. He's got documentation in it. We're going to do this together. So look, click like, share, subscribe. And we're going to do this. And then I want y'all just to put in the comments, if you watched that, I can't call it press conference, what did y'all think? Because I watched it and I was like, do they think that the people don't pay attention? Do they think that the voters aren't educated? It's basically, don't watch that council meeting. Believe what I'm telling you right here. And it's misguiding the people. So let's start. Let's go through this. I'm looking forward to this. Let's start it. Look, roll the tape. Is that how they do it? Roll the tape. Let's get it going.
Actions we witnessed last night was beyond self-sabotage. It was direct on full sabotage of what we're doing.
Dr. Lewis?
No.
Ms. Johnson is not in. Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
No.
Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer?
No.
Mr. Jarrett?
No.
Mr. Alamin is not in. The vote is 2 yes, 5 no.
The vote is 2 yes, 5 no. That resolution fails.
Last night, we saw and got the opportunity to look at those individuals that sit on council that does not engage this space with the same mindset about where we are with this proposed increase from Gleewood. Not proposed, they voted, they will raise it. We do not want to pass on this cost onto our residents. So the vote that took place last night, you saw 5 council people, and I encourage all of you to reach out to them to talk about where we are with this. Don't take the chicanery and the political play of the words that they give. We have a strong budget, one of the strongest budgets in the last 2 decades here. We presented it to them to make sure that you will be insulated from any increase from our water provider. They said no. Those individuals are not working for you. And I will say it boldly, and I've never spoke like this as it relates to these issues. We presented it to them, the numbers to them. They asked for more numbers, but it gave them an opportunity to make an excuse to not protect you, the residents. So you, your families need to be able to weigh in on this. It will be a council meeting on Monday. I encourage you to come down to witness where they are. Ask them the point blank question. Are you proposing that our water rates go up or not? Prove it by your vote. They stood there, they voted in opposition to this. So this is not where we need to be in this community. Our CFO, Phil Moore, we have a great budget. We can afford this.
At some point, we have to plateau out at some point. We just can't keep throwing money at it, throw money at it, throw money at it. So is there any even talk of doing any kind of cost cutting, any kind of where we are financially in these departments? Like, because we're just throwing money at it and kicking the can down the curb, like my colleagues are saying. Like, at some point, you know, the bill collector is going to come to pay, and we're deferring these rate increases. Well, I'm worried about 4 years from now when we have to do a 30% increase because we didn't do a 5% increase incrementally. So
the budget as presented is a very strong, very solid budget. There are no gimmicks. It's a balanced budget. It's a very good budget. I think it's one of the soundest budgets that the city of Flint has had for decades. I sincerely believe that.
And so with that said, that's validation of where we are with this.
You're not using any of our sanitary fund to pay for our stormwater.
I didn't say it. We're probably using some. We have an ongoing program trying to limit the amount of interconnection between the storm drains and the sanitary drains.
So do you know that we cannot do that?
That's why we're trying to eliminate all that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so when we do that, we're in violation of our MS4 licensing and permit.
It is, every city
Why are
does it.
we doing that?
We presented 6 balanced budgets to the city council and passed.
Jonathan, let's stop right
We know
there.
our financial ability.
Okay, so let's put up that MS4 licensing. City of Flint cannot, because we had a water crisis, not to the fault of, the residents. And for 18 months, people were told the water was fine, it was safe. The switch was to the Flint River, which everybody knew with common sense. That's the MS4 licensing. And we are required by the state to keep, and by the courts. And that's why people have this settlement. We have to keep the storm drain and sanitary, to keep those separate. When you don't do that, it puts Flint in violation of losing their license. They spoke about this like it was, like they were going through the drive-through at McDonald's. I like to order a number one Big Mac meal, with a Coca-Cola. This is serious. And so why it's serious is because we know that Flint has a very fragile system. And in its system, we have a fragile infrastructure. The lead poisoning the water, which was less than like $1 a day, it would have, the lead that leach helped to erode Flint's infrastructures and pipes at a faster rate. They don't do what they're supposed to do. Everything that they do is they wing it. They wing it. We are required by the state of Michigan. We had wind funds. Wind funds was $100 million that we were supposed to, to begin to fix our infrastructure. Everyone has heard me talk about the administrative consent order. It's about 200 pages in the document. In that administrative consent order, it talks about our water quality. It talks about our infrastructure. It talks about mandated projects that we have got to fix. It talks about it. We don't have enough to do that. We know that the state of Michigan took over completing the service lines. Why? Flint was filed, and Mayor Neely and his administration were found in contempt of court 4 times for not completing the service lines, not knowing how many we had to complete, not knowing how many restorations we had to complete. He's been touting, oh, we're finished with the service lines. They're not. I called Eric Oswald. He told me that there are about 800 to 900 more to complete, and that they had 900 service lines to complete and about 800 restorations, that we are not complete. That is not true. Also, Arthur Woodson had put up on his page, and can we put that up too? With Eric, it was Eric Oswald with Eagle. He said that it's not complete. And so here it is that we get time and time again that this mayor puts out false statements, false articles, and he just tells lies. So this is the email from Arthur Woodson's page, and he put this up. And this is to Eric Oswald. You see, it was Eagle. It says, no, we are not done with service lines in the city. The confusion, I think, comes from an article about the conclusion of the settlement agreement with the concerned pastors. The state never set the completion of the work. Oh, can you make that bigger? Because I'm on a small screen. Thank you. Thank you. Set the completion of the work as the bar. We remain committed to getting all the lead service lines out. Hope that helps. Arthur Woodson, he sent that. Eric Oswald with Eagle sent that. But you hear the mayor stating that the service lines is complete. He was on Channel 12, ABC 12, and stated the service lines are complete. That is a lie. 2019, Mayor Neely was elected. In 2019, underneath Mayor Karen Weaver's administration, they were at 90%, I think 92%. Underneath that, we stayed at 90%. So 2019, he was elected, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. We are in 2026, and all the lead service lines have not been changed. You remember the Scripps News, when they called the line would just kick you off where it was busy. So this administration did not take it serious to finish and complete the work that was 90% that was done. Who's speaking up for Flint? And so can you make that bigger? You may have to make all of them bigger, Jonathan. So on this one, it says, Flint, was that as big as you can get that? Lord have mercy. Y'all know I'm on this little bitty one. And so it says, Flint hoping to wrap up lead service line replacement next week. Okay, this was like 2-3 weeks ago. It's not done. He said this on ABC 12. It's not done. We did not finish no 800 or 900 service lines in the next week. And this was like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And so when he gaslights, because it's not a we, gaslights this community, at the very least, finish the service lines. People should be able to drink their water from the tap, and they can't. People are still complaining that the water smells. People are still complaining that they have issues, and people don't trust the water, and they shouldn't. Why? Because people continuously lie. And so Mayor Neely went on ABC 12 and told them that the service lines were going to wrap up next week. Now we know that's not true because you just saw the email with Arthur Woodson. I spoke to Eric Oswald and he said it's not. That's how I know the numbers. And so when we look at this and they keep telling information, we're tired of politicians lying to us. And it doesn't take much research to find the truth at all. So let's keep going. Now we know they commingling funds when we're not supposed to with MS4 licensing. And that was the permit that we put up there. But let's pick it back up where we're at. Let's keep playing the video because we're gonna do this together. Y'all click, like, share the video too.
In this community.
So this was my concern that we, I guess it's basically we're commingling funds, and with the state of Michigan with our permit, we cannot do that. So what is the plan to correct that?
We have an ongoing program trying to identify where there might be interconnection.
But what we see is the water's being muddied by personal politics, gutter politics.
We currently have another rate hike, which many of us spoke against. And part B of that rate hike situation is the fact that you have 9 council members here who are not interested in voting for us to pass on a rate hike and raise the rates for residents. As a matter of fact, I don't think you will get a vote for that.
These individuals should not be allowed to do so without providing you a better explanation beyond what they provided.
I don't want to be the council that is looked at similar to what the councilwoman in the 4th Ward just sort of referenced, in that we should have addressed an issue as opposed to passing it along to the next body of council members to have to address. I'm not in favor tonight or anytime soon of approving $1 million without applying some type of pressure to the administration to come up with a plan. We got to now apply pressure. There was knowledge last year when we approved $2 million that this year was coming. And nothing has seemingly, I'm not going to say nothing has been done, but nothing seemingly has been done in a way to where it could at least, we don't even have presented to us a structure of a plan.
The Gleewood water contract was put in place in 2017 for 30 years. It was a cap originally, but the cap has been lifted. And since that time, a rate increase of about 12% in the last 9 months has been passed on to the city of Flint.
Is the city setting aside, which is required by the administrative consent order with the technical, managerial, and finance, are we setting aside $6 million per year for improvements, capital improvements?
No, I don't think the budget doesn't have that, no.
Okay, it is required.
The first water rate increase, we insulated you, the end user, by putting $2 million in the water stabilization fund to cover us. Another 5.8% increase just happened last week. We proposed putting in $1 million into the water stabilization fund, insulating you, the residents. So legacy issues and legacy problems with a 30-year contract, that is a legacy issue and a legacy problem that we have to deal with. We don't have all the answers to be able to perform saying how do we get beyond the level of increase from our water provider. But we're working toward that. But in the meantime, we need to insulate you, the voting residents of this community, the bosses of this community, from a water rate increases. Ed Taylor and myself both served on Flint City Council. Collectively, we served 24 years on city councils. So we understand what it is to be a council person more than the current council people are there. We have more experience there.
2017.
Yeah, we paused right there.
This.
So, okay, city council and my colleagues are saying, where's the plan? He should not be touting how much experience they have when they don't have a plan. He was elected in 2019. Neely was elected in 2019. He had and has no plan. He knew because he tells it, and now he's trying to blame the former administration. 2017, the document was signed. You were the state rep. Why didn't you advocate and legislate that this goes away, that Flint should, for the next 30 years, not even have to pay for the water? Why? Why are we even paying for water? What did you do to prevent it? But when it's only blame, you took office in 2019. That document had been signed 2 years prior. Why don't you have a plan? You know it's 30 years. Your tenure, he knew it would be there. He doesn't have a plan. His plan is to let me bash the head of city council. I'm going to blame them. It's city council's fault. It's city council's fault. No, Mayor Neely doesn't have a plan. And I sat in my council seat. He's going to he's going to call a press conference. Number one, he's going to blame the council. Number two, and three, he got the lie when he blamed the council, because council is saying, where's your plan? When you know that you have an issue and you know it's not going away for 30 years, he failed to address it. He failed. We're asking, where's your plan? His plan is not a plan. It is kicking the problem down the road. It doesn't solve it. It doesn't prevent water rates from going up. It just doesn't do that. And not only that part, he believes that I'm gonna blame council and they're gonna believe me. So he's taking it to the press. Okay, well, we're smart enough to know. We're required to ask you. He doesn't have those 5 votes. Normally he would have those 5 votes. Liddell didn't vote for it. Liddell told him, you don't have nothing for me. I ain't got nothing for you. And so whatever that brokered that deal, now maybe he's got to give her another 25 or 50,000, dollars, but he needs that vote now. With the shift in leadership, which the leadership was terrible. Yes, I don't say get along. I come there to do my job. And I think that's how the 4 were in that side. You hear Jenna say, now you know how it feels to be on this side, because it wasn't about the people for them. He's now having to do the work to come up with a plan. He didn't pass all those years. And I'm going to tell you, I passed a balanced budget. That's a lie. Last year, we adopted the fiscal year 25. Or was it fiscal year 25? Because we had a deficit. He provided city council with a deficit plan last year. So, and it's lies that you can prove. So anything we've had a budget amendment is because he's overspending. And so when he does this, he thinks that you, me, nobody, can remember. And so when they're saying we need a plan, it was consistent, except for Judy and Candace, who did not, and LaShawn didn't. No, I think LaShawn asked what was the plan. And they didn't ask for a plan. But when council is saying, if we don't get it raised, next year they're going to be raised. And let me tell you why they're going to be raised. More than once, actually. One is because that agreement. And if it was so bad in 2017, you got all this experience from city council to state rep. Why haven't you made up a plan? That means you would know who to go to, what to do. What I have done, I asked our city attorney, and we have not had great city attorneys. Y'all know this. And I asked her, I said, I need to know, and I sent an email, and with request, I've had conversation. What would it take to terminate this contract, if at all possible? Can we terminate it? Can we take it to court to say that it was unfair? Because the Karagandhi, the KWA, had not been completed at the time when the 2017 contract was signed. There was nobody to go to. There was no other resource. You could go back to the Flint River had poisoned everyone. The facility for our water treatment plant had not been used in 50 years. Upgrading it means it ain't upgrade, it's tear down and start over. So it could not use that. There was only one choice. So they really had Flint over a barrel. Why? Because Flint had to change back the court order, because they couldn't use the Flint River. The KWA wasn't complete. So what do? The judge issued, you got to sign the contract. They went to court. So when people present things and they don't present them in its entirety, Mayor Neely knew what was going on. He also knew that those service fees were high. And I'm going to tell you why. He was running around here with these little postcards, and it was like $56 then or $57 was just service fees if you don't use a drop of water. This is what he was saying. And he had little postcards. Why? Because he came to my office and showed them to me. And I'm like, well, because my problem was, why was water so high? And me and him talked about this. And so when he says these things, he doesn't speak in truth. So going in, one, you knew you had this 30-year contract. Why aren't you seeing why you can terminate it? Why aren't you seeing what would be the cost? What would be the penalties? Can we take this to court? That was what I asked our city attorney. But he does a press conference, and what does he do? He blames the former administration. He never takes responsibility for nothing. You're the mayor, sir, since 2019, and you got 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, and year 26 underneath your belt, and you don't have a plan. Why are we not in court seeing if we can terminate this? Why are we not seeing what would be the fees? Let's look at it and weigh it out. So I did send that to the city attorney. I'm waiting on a legal opinion. Not only did I send it to the city attorney, because y'all know I became best friends with my personal attorney. I asked him, I said, he was like, why would y'all do that? He said, had a word deal. That's terrible. I said, they didn't have a choice. Where are you going to go? And we couldn't use Flint River. KWA wasn't done. Glia was it. So Glia had Flint over a barrel. And so he's looking into it. So, I want to look at all options because one, Mayor Neely is not being honest and truthful, but nobody who knows, if you don't know him, you might believe, but if you do, you're not surprised. And so that 30-year deal, he should have a plan. They're mixing the storm drain and sanitary fund. They're mixing those funds. They're paying it out of the 590. You can't do that. We're required by the law that you can't. Those have to stay separate. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And that fifth vote with Liddell, it's gone now. It's not something he can depend on. You can't depend on that at all. So let's start this back up.
Particular Gleewood contract was voted on. I wasn't here, he wasn't here. Decisions were made at that time. But since we've been here, as he stated, the increase has occurred. And what we have done is we've put money aside to stabilize that so that the end user, me and everybody else that lived in the city of Flint, parents, they will not see that increase. So you hear council people talk on the mic, and they talk about solutions and what are we going to do, and we need a game plan. Well, if you want to get solutions and you want to get a game plan, what you need to do, you need to come to the person that can make it happen. And that's right here in the mayor's office. Sometimes we in administration, we have to take it ourselves and do what we need to do to make sure that this rate increase doesn't happen. $1 million, that'll starve it off, that'll hold it off for a while. But at the end of the day, all of us collectively need to get together and see what we can do to get a solution instead of just sit there and talk about what we're going to do.
This administration will continue to fight. We will continue to propose solutions, but definitely we need people at the table. We have city council members that have never come down to the mayor's office for one meeting. They definitely don't come down to any budget meetings. So they sit there and they talk about things they have no real idea about. But we continue to maintain an open line of dialogue with an invitation for them to come and talk about these things so we can move these issues forward.
Meet EM Sense, a breakthrough in foot therapy that wraps around your foot and ankle like a therapeutic.
ARPA transaction after the December 2023 transfer date.
I think next week we can do that.
Let's pin it right there. Okay, so Ed Taylor's a deputy chief of staff. And so when we talk about and how he tied in, and it's going to be coming up to $40 million. Here's my issue. 9 of us are in council chambers. When you're talking about something so important and he wants everyone to come into his office and talk in secrecy, that is the $40 million that was transferred. Y'all know it's all up and down my timeline, and I talked about it. I did not vote for that, okay? I know Councilwoman Winfrey Carter didn't, Dennis Pfeiffer didn't, and neither did I don't think Jonathan there. I think Jonathan did. And so when he says you got to come down there to where the answers are, no, it's not. 9 people in the residence are in council chambers. It is no secret that we got an issue with the water. I'm not going to talk to you in your office. I'm not going to do that because one, it's not true. Last time I was there, he went to explain to me that and literally said, Flint is a honeypot. There's a lot of things going on. Don't try to test me to see I'm going to, if I'm willing to be bought off. No, not that person. No. Flint is like a honeypot. Okay, well, if it's a honeypot, those were his words. That's not me. I don't have no nonprofit that I need you to send money to. And so when we talk about stabilizing it, if we put 40 million, 5 of them voted to put that into the general fund. It was found that ARPA committee was an illegal committee. That was by the Michigan Supreme Court. It went all the way there. And so why should we come to his office? Because I guess if you don't go to their office in their theory, it doesn't matter. We work for the people. Those are our bosses. I'm not going to talk to you in secrecy. Last time you want to talk about the honeypot. I'm not doing that. You come and talk to where the residents are. Residents are in council. All 9 of us is in one room because we can't all go down to his office at the same time. And so what he's been doing, he's been very successful. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. And that's what they were willing to do. I haven't been down there since 22? It's been a long time when I talked to him one time. And I told him last time, because he likes to keep you waiting in the lobby. My time is worth something. He got 5 minutes. If he's not there at that time, then I'm leaving. He can go play with somebody else and somebody else's time, but he's not going to play with Tonya Burns. Not doing that. I will never sit in the lobby and wait on anybody. That's just disrespect, unless you got an emergency or something, but that's what he does. He secures himself and believes in that 40 laws of power book. He act like that's his Bible. But when we talk about that, you got to come down to his office. So it's divide and conquer. We know we don't tell the truth. I passed a balanced budget. No, you did not. You had a $13 million deficit, I believe. We had a deficit. The council we did not adopt his budget last year. We adopted the prior year's budget. Go back. It's on the videotapes. He needs to quit lying. And that's the problem. People can deal with the fact that, and we may not want it, but don't mislead the people. Why don't you have a plan on what to do with it? You've been there for 6-7 years. Where is your plan? And so water rates in the city of Flint are one of the highest in the nation. And you don't drink the water. No one's just laying back in the shower and just saying, oh, I love the water. No, they're not. Not unless they have a osmosis treatment, to treat your water, reverse osmosis. They don't have that. So I just want to make that clear. He wants council to come to his office individually, divide and conquer, and come with him in there, because that's who was at my meeting. They don't intimidate me, to come to the meeting and then instead of coming to council in front of the public, because the public is concerned. If he was concerned, why don't you say, we're kicking the can. Well, let's see. How much is it if we to stabilize with the 40 million that went into the general fund? How much of that 40 million can we apply if we cannot get out of that contract? He was good friends with the governor. Why didn't he ask the governor to help him? Why not? She knew that it was an unfair deal with GLEWA for 30 years, and GLEWA was going to raise them. Why? Because they have infrastructure, water mains. You saw what happened in Detroit when that whole neighborhood froze, and GLEWA also does repairs. We got a lot that's going on. He's just not telling the truth. Why didn't he have a plan? Let's start this back up, please.
So, Mr. Pfeiffer, did you know that I asked for that for this specific conversation? I asked for that on February the 4th, and then I reiterated it on February the 8th when I sent the follow-up email. So just want to state on the record that I asked for this information, so this is the second request for this information.
I'm not aware of that, but welcome to the party that doesn't get anything from the administration ever. Now you feel what we've felt for the past 4 years.
In regards to the ARPA funds, a big discussion point among city council members was they were hesitant to decide on an investment through ARPA funds when they were unsure of the exact amount that was left. So would you be willing to clarify how much ARPA funds are left? And if not on this, what are the discussions of them being spent towards?
I would venture to tell you and to say that they know exactly where we are with that. And that was just a convenient excuse because they made the vote to transfer remaining ARPA dollars into the general fund last year. It was their vote. They knew what happened. We did that in 2024. All funds that we're proposing in this particular account comes from the 101 fund. The 101 fund is our general fund. So the dollars that we have placed from ARPA dollars, we place it into the general fund. And our proposal says that we will take these dollars from the general fund to subsidize the water increase so it does not have to be passed on to the end users.
Unfortunately, I don't support this at the moment for one reason. It's been a month. I asked you all about the standing of the ARPA funds. You have not, no one has gone back with me. My colleagues took it off of the agenda, so we can't talk about it. And so I don't feel comfortable giving money from a fund that we don't know the balance.
Request for information.
Go ahead.
What's your request?
Excuse me.
Councilwoman Lewis, you requested something about the ARPA and it wasn't put on?
I did. I put in a request to talk about the ARPA for today's finance meeting, and it was removed.
Oh, thank you.
Not a problem. And so, again, I asked you, Seamus, and our finance chair, succinct questions, and the questions were driven from the residents that sat right out there. And I can show the email, and I can also read the questions. And we were told that since it didn't go through Clyde, you guys, I guess, wasn't going to answer it, but you all heard it. And then we said we'll talk about it next meeting. This is the next meeting. We have nothing. So I don't feel comfortable moving on ARPA funds. Again, out of 40 million, we have 2.8 million left. Now you all want 1 million, so that'll be, I guess, 1.8 million left. I might be off, but this is the facts. You're not giving me anything. And so since you give me nothing, I have nothing for you.
So when they say that means they're lightly engaged, as their attendance record will show, as they're absent from coming down to talk about these very important issues. For when they do show up to council meetings, they make all these excuses how not to support the residents of this great city. And
can we put a
is
pin in that
unacceptable.
right there?
So there's
Let it be known, there is nowhere in the Flint City Charter that states you have to go to the mayor's office. It is not required. It is not a council rule. You don't have to like the mayor. The mayor don't have to like the council. It is not a requirement. So to say that they're absent from talking about it with him, again, it's divide and conquer. Not happening. And it's coming back to bite them. Look at all the people that are running. Also, the $2.8 million. Then Liddell saying it might be $1 million. We don't know how much is in there. And you hear him say into the 10 fund, you know, that ARPA money went into that. Yeah. And he says, oh, we got a healthy budget. You know, I've been asking for ARPA, Jesus Lord, 2 years now. 2 years. It's nice that Liddell asked on February 4th and she asked on February 8th. But where was Liddell Lewis when we needed her and her leadership? Where was she when we needed her to speak for her ward, for the second ward? Now that whatever it is they got going on, and it's not good because they're taking shots at each other, and I'm just watching. I'm not the crossfires, but I'm just watching. Now she's being held accountable, and she's asking him. But before she wouldn't. It was them 5 votes. Call for the question. 5 votes. Call for the question. There wasn't discussion. It didn't matter. Call for the question. The administrative consent order. Call for the question. Now they want to do their job. Let's keep the video going, please.
excuse making is just that. Those dollars was transferred by a vote of them. 2022, they passed an ARPA budget. They understand acutely where those dollars are. And we keep providing those answers, and they keep providing excuses. And now it should be over. Every resident should be outraged, disappointed, and frustrated with the lack of attendance, a lack of accountability for these council people.
I can't even button my work pants anymore. Had to buy new.
who's representing us? I mean, besides just the residents. You know, if this is important and the mayor goes on the news to tell us how important it is, why didn't he show up to speak? Amanda was there for 1 minute and 46 seconds. She spoke, but she's not the mayor. And we don't have a seat at that table. That's his job to make sure we have representation. He didn't show up. None of his staff showed up. And Mr. Edwards wasn't there. City administrator. We are in absence of representation.
So those dollars, if they want to have it, they can meet with me at any time, and the chief of staff, and also Phil Moore, to be able to go through it with our partners at Ernst & Young.
I'm just wondering, did it go through city administrator or the clerk, or did you send it directly to us? Because we're supposed to only respond if it goes through proper charter protocol. I'm asking the question.
I understand that, but that's a cop out. That's a cop out, because you could have sent it to Clyde and said, hey, are you aware of this? Can I respond? Instead of just ignoring it.
But I have responded to anyone that sent it through administration or proper channels, proper protocol.
Okay,
I have responded.
So anything that you get that doesn't come directly from Clyde, you're just going to ignore.
I'm not supposed to respond to that per charter. It has to go through my understanding. If I'm wrong, educate me.
Will this new proposal also include ARPA funds?
It will include general funds, and that's what it is. It's general fund dollars that was supplied by ARPA dollars. So once that vote occurred by city council to place dollars into the general fund from ARPA funds, it became general funds from ARPA. So these are general fund dollars. And so when we talk about the level of surplus, we have a level of the way that we define surpluses. We have a healthy surplus, as Mr. Moore just told you. We can afford to absorb this for residents, but we have to have a vote by council. In 2017, the council voted to have a 30-year contract. Only one of those council people are still serving now. But the questions need to be asked to those individuals, and that individual, why would you vote for a 30-year deal when many advised not to vote for a 30-year agreement with one provider?
I need to just say this. First of all, the council, I had just gotten elected in 2017. The council, before that, they dropped the ball, because they should have had that decision made. It was left up to us. Now, let me explain something. We couldn't even go to the KWA. The KWA wasn't even up. Our water plant was antiquated. We didn't even have the money to even do KWA. So we had to vote on that 30-year contract. We had no other choice. So, but the thing with that, this administration, they could have been doing something. We don't even have a plan. What is the plan?
Petty personal politics.
Can you pin it right there?
Going on.
So I want to put, thank you. So I want to put some facts out there. There is no plan. So we know that the state appointed emergency managers, Flint has had 5 emergency managers. Dr. Eric Scarsoni came back to work, and I asked him at the meeting. He came back to work in Flint in January. They call him the architect, and I like Eric Scarsoni. I do. He's back here. He was here 2012. He came when Mayor Neely was elected in his administration in 2019, and he's now back again working as a finance manager in 2026. He's back. So state appointed emergency managers in Flint acting to cut costs 2013 and 2015 authorized a switch in the city's water source to the corrosive Flint River, causing widespread lead contamination and a severe public health crisis. The emergency management, which was the emergency management law, which suspends a local democratic control for financial oversight, which directly caused the catastrophe, leading to long-term health, legal, and economic devastation. So it was switched, the water was switched, emergency management, from Lake Huron to the Flint River, failing to properly treat the water. Mayor Neely knew all of this. So he's known about this, and he doesn't have a plan. He keeps saying that, they failed. He keeps this, attendance thing, Coming. You don't report to the mayor. We're separate. He's executive branch. We're the legislative branch. But the legislative branch has been acting like the executive branch to where we didn't know the difference. Now residents should not be facing this. But why hasn't he been proactive to ask? That's his responsibility. How much will it cost to determine this? Can we take them to a court? They strong-armed Flint into this deal. Why didn't he take them to court? Or can we take them to court? What are the penalties? What are the costs? We got $94.7 million in ARPA funds. Who has it affected? He wants to make this a campaign bullet point, as Councilman Pfeiffer stated, and it's true. When he does this, it's a campaign bullet point. I fought off water. No, you didn't, because it's going to go up. And not only is it going to go up now, those revolving loans, that administrative consent order, we are mandated to complete those projects. And so what did they say? Oh, they're going to be forgiven. September 23rd, 5 council members voted, call for the question, no discussion, to accept the administrative consent order. And then after that, oh, Flint is cured, the water is cured. Not true. In that, we have the technical managerial and financial report. We have the projects that we have got to complete. And service lines was one. We don't have the money. Now they want that $29.6 million. Tory Road Booster Station and Northwest Transmission Main. You heard Jeanette Best talk about the backhoe that ran into the building on the Pump Station 5. Pump Station 5 is the one that's in Ward 2. That's where Councilwoman Liddell Lewis told her constituents she didn't have a shop vac on her back. She got 2 homes. That's not her problem. And she was in Maryland at the time. And so remember these things, because I don't have no short-term memory. That backhoe knocked the building off of its structure. Jeanette Best stated if it wasn't for the electrical and the controls being in the basement, we would have had a problem. We know that Pump Station 5 was a problem. And so when we talk about these things, and that building was under, and they said it was insured for only $200,000, they came to council asking for $1.25 million to repair it, because a lot of the buildings aren't insured. And so when we look at this administration, go back and watch the entire meeting. Go back and watch it, because you need to, because we've got some problems. And so when he stood up and he's telling us about this $40 million, we don't know. We have been asking. My emails, I've been asking all the time. In person, I'm asking. We've asked from our seat. They do not. We got to a point, they told us we have to FOIA stuff. Then they said, oh, no, you can refer it. Because when you mentioned it on the floor, look, I'm not going to be paying for no FOIA when it's my job. How am I going to pay to get information when it's my job? That's crazy. One FOIA was $250. I can't remember all the prices except for that one, to do my job. See, they don't want you to ask questions. They don't want to be held accountable. And business is not done in the mayor's. That's not where the business come before. A mayor should be coming before the city council. What do you have to hide? Everyone knows 2017 that contract was signed. What are we working collectively with the council as a mayor to do? You come to council where all 9 of us can talk about how to fix it together. I'm so tired of this mayor dividing this community. And what we keep seeing is everybody keep quitting. Every meeting I got people, I told Makisha, I said, Makisha, good luck at your new job. I wish you the best, because I've seen how they micromanage, how they mistreat people, how they demean you and talk to you, how it's horribly micromanaged. I've seen that. And so we look at the department heads and the talent we've lost. People call me and say, you know what? I hope the next person we have is not him, because I love Flint. I want to see Flint win. I'll come back, but I don't want to work for Mayor Neely. And some of this talent we need back. But they don't want to work for him because they see how he manages and horribly mismanages. That water fund, $1 million kicks it down the road. It's not a can. It's not like a big water tanker truck or a semi truck. It's more like a farm silo. It's huge. So how, if you want to do something for the residents, you got 40 million, balancing out to balance that water fund out to the remainder of that contract, which is about 20 years. If you're going to do something great, you got 40 million, and Rich Jones had even said it, balance it out for the remainder of the contract. Don't make people think you're doing something for them that's so minuscule. Do something big and great. Get us out of this. Again, he got elected 2019, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and it's going to go up. The revolving loans that they want us to take that 29.6 million with the Tory Road Booster Station and Northwest Transmission Main, it comes with a higher interest rate. So you're not going to be getting just one, you're going to be getting two interest rates, because the loans, if they say, oh, well, they're going to forgive them. What they don't do when they get the loans, they're secured loans, and they're secured with the higher interest rate for your water. That's how you get them to forgive them, because you go, they have applied. So, hey, Flint, you get to get this loan. Okay, oh, great. And then we'll work on getting it forgiven. Okay, well, how are you going to secure the loan? Hold on, y'all. The loan is secured with a higher interest rate in case Flint defaults on the loan. Flint has had 5 emergency managers. So if it defaults, well, that's fine. We raise their interest rate, so it's secured with for the next 30 years or 40 years or however long we're going to get our money, or 20 years, because we raised the interest rates. They can forgive the loan, but what they don't reverse is those interest rates. That loan application did not say it was an unsecured loan. If so, how many people you're going to go buy a Bentley or Rolls Royce, and they're going to let you put anything down? We're just going to take it. You're going to pay us when you want to. It's not how it's done. And so you're not going to get just that interest rate. You'll get interest rate higher. You're going to get it high. And yes, I know that, because I called the guy, I called the man, I called down to the state, and I did it. And I asked, because they was like, Tonya, you guys need to be careful with that. I'm like, well, what do you mean? It was like, you don't get to the interest rate is going to come back and get you. I said, well, they're saying it's forgiven. And then I said, oh, let me give a call. And I made some calls. So it's not just this proposed interest rate, and they're going to continue to go up, but they continue to go up because they're not giving us an unsecured loan. If you're going to do something great, how much does it take to secure this loan, or to secure and stabilize the water fund? Do it for the balance of the contract. What does it look like to secure for the balance of the contract? They didn't have no numbers, no figures, no numbers, no plan. No figures, no numbers, no plan. They did not. So one thing we know, that how you can lower the water rate, and people keep saying, well, lower the fees. Well, those are the master fee schedule. That will be a very small, about $60 per month is what the fees are. That's going to be very minuscule, because that is actually funded with the fees into the general fund. And so it really has to be looked at, which I did ask the legal department, and not only the legal department, I asked my personal attorneys. We know that about 50%, it was about a year ago, I was told 50%, and 50% of our water is lost. We pay for this water, so we don't buy as much water, which lower our rates. And 50% of our water is lost. And it's called unmetered water. It could be water main breaks. It could be water that is water theft. But about 50% of the water is unmetered. We don't even know how much is lost or stolen. Water main breaks. And when we have the big water main breaks, and even the little ones, I had one running on Brentwood for 3 weeks, one on Stevenson almost 4 weeks. And so when this water, which is your money, running down the drain, these people, they can't keep up. At the crews, when you begin to work in that department, if you're working on a water main break, you are paid, when you start, $17.50 an hour. So the turnover rate is quick, because it's dirty water, it's dirty work. You get mud water, you're down in them holes, and it is not easy to do, and it's very laborious. And at $17.50 is not a competitive wage. $17.50 is where you digging that up with the mud, ice, snow, sleet, rain, you fixing water mains. And at $17.50, it is not a competitive wage. And so we get water that will run 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And it does that. And this administration should be doing something much different than that. They don't have a plan. What they should be doing, you can't handle the amount of water that is, the water main breaks. We had a very cold winter, which is as the ground is thawing, they're going to spring up, and they do. And when they're springing up, what they should do, because you can't keep the labor, you're paying them $17.50. What needs to be done is hire other contractors so that when this happens, we don't have to pay for their legacy benefits. We don't have to pay for their health insurance. He's only got one, Steve's Plumbing. You need to have three. He fails to plan for the city. He knows we're going to have water main breaks all the time. You don't have the staffing. Mayor Neely, you don't have the staff. Mayor Neely, water main breaks are going to happen. What he keeps continuing to do is not plan. Why doesn't he have a plan? Okay, it's starting to thaw. We know that, 1st of March, they're going to increase. Let's have 3 companies on so we can make sure we right on them. He fails to plan. We don't have enough staff to even take care of them. At $17.50. Okay, let's get going again. Let's keep this going.
With the city council, we said the wars, the violation of city charter, the violations of rules, not passing the budget on time last year where the state had to intervene. This is horrible.
Do we have a plan?
They said nothing could fix it, but wait till you see this.
Is there a plan that anyone's working on? Because here's another concern. We have these revolving loans at $29.6 million. That's the revolving loan we did approve for the application for it. If that comes back, what they do, the state, to approve it, they have to have it secured. I don't believe they're going to give Flint a $29.6 million unsecured loan. I don't see that. Now, what they're saying, well, we have to apply to have it forgiven, and it looks good that we may be forgiven. But the issue is they do not reverse the rate hike. They secure it with a rate hike.
The greatest threat to society is a person that has nothing to lose. And we've seen this happen from some of these council members. This is obstruction at the highest level.
So, Mr. Moore, okay, we're just basically putting a Band-Aid on the situation. Because let's say we do approve this $1 million. What are we going to do in 2027? Fiscal year 26, 27.
But 26, 27, we should be okay. 27,
27, 28. What are you going to do?
28, we're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Okay. What is the plan? What is the plan?
It hasn't been developed yet. We're working on that.
Mr. Moore, I would think that this was on the agenda. You knew this is on the that this was going to be on the agenda tonight. Okay? Somebody should have came to us tonight with a plan. We need a plan. Now, I don't want the water rates to increase, but we need a plan.
When we have these petty politics, and that's exactly what they are, these individuals who do nothing, and you see them fighting amongst one another, and the collateral damage could be you and I out here in this community, from our water rates to public safety to everyday engaged activity from the city of Flint. This should be stopped.
Need to talk about this to fix it. I'm not going to kick a can, not even a can, it's a silo down the road. We need a plan. I liked what Councilman Jarrett stated, and what's the big rush? I mean, they bring this up here and then we'll be the bad people because the mayor doesn't have a plan. We don't do it, then he'll go on TV and lie and say it's the council fault when he don't have a plan. He paying funds out of other funds and he's not supposed to. He in violation, which they can yank our MS4 permit. And so this is under his administration. That's not us. This is administration. We need a plan.
We're going to hold fast. We're going to continue to fight for you, the residents. That is my commitment. That is the chief's commitment. That is Chief of Staff Ed Taylor's commitment. We'll continue to fight for you. That's what we're going to do. But the city council need to be held accountable for their poor actions and their excuse making. We have the best city budget in 20 years. Never before in Flint's history has 6 balanced budgets been presented. Petty politics gets in the way. We see it on a local level, we see it on the state level, we see it now nationally. But you have the power to stop it here locally.
We don't technically need these monies until July, correct? Correct?
Yes.
So
I'm about to reveal a snoring fix that most women over 40 don't know. This is what your throat looks like when you're...
The last word with one.
Uh-oh, a little bit. Was that it, Jonathan? No, that couldn't have been it. I don't think. So, Jonathan, we may be having a little bit of technical difficulty. So listen, why Jonathan is, I know he don't like to pop on the screen, but one of the things, and where you hear Dennis says we don't need, July 1st is our new, that's when our budget, that we adopt goes into effect July 1st. And so when you hear Councilwoman Winfrey Carter state, of course, where's the plan? Where's the plan? And she asked the question with Mr. Moore, and he says, hey, we're going to have to make some tough decisions, 27 and 28. And she's absolutely, correct, asking him that. And he says it on the record. And I like Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore gets nervous because you get yelled at by the mayor if you're not doing what he deems right. He goes off. And so he says we're going to have to make some tough decisions in year 27 and 28. And so do something great for the people. How much would it be? What are we looking at to, can we terminate the contract? What can we do? What are our options? The only option that he has that he has talked about is blaming it on council, the $1 million. That'll stop it. That's not what we're looking at, because we still have got 20 more years that's on there. 20 more years. That's a long time, and if we got that, that amount of time that's on it, he's been in there since 2019. Why isn't he doing something about it? He should have had a plan coming in. He knew about it. You boasted about how much experience both of you have. Why don't you have a plan that shows us their experience? I'm not going down there to talk about in secrecy and privacy. This needs to be in the open and transparent. You come to council, talk with the council members. But to blame us for everything that, well, they know where the 40 million. No, we don't. That's why we're asking. When you ask Judy that won't speak. Well, I'm not paid to do that. That's not my job. Okay. She went to the compensation board and asked for a raise. She felt too much work as the finance chair. Then maybe you shouldn't be the finance chair. It's that complicated. So the leadership is a problem. What they consider, they had the 5 votes. Dennis voted for Liddell. Dennis, I wasn't there. He voted for Liddell. Whatever his reasons are, and it is really, it threw. I know he had a axe to grind with her. I completely get that. He stripped Liddell of all her position, power, and it was given to Candace, who was her nemesis. And they have a problem up there. All of that backbiting they did. And they have a problem. I'm just sitting back watching. Liddell's agreeing with Dennis. She's agreeing with me. I'm like, okay, we are out there for the work. They have the problem, not me. Candace is like, well, he put people in that race against Liddell, put people in that race against me. Well, that's what she do, and that's what happened. And so the Fab Five is not the Fab Five anymore. Okay, So let's move on. So water rates, he did exactly what we said. He would blame the council, and he did. He blamed the council, which he blames the council. He's never wrong. never any responsibility for saying I should have had the finance department and legal department work on a plan because I knew this was coming. You can see that. I mean, that was 2017. You're talking 9 years later. You knew, you were in politics. You were the state rep. You knew what this, you were the state rep representing this area. He should have known that $40 million ARPA fund I talked about, that $40 million ARPA, we don't know how much money is in there. We don't know who got money. We don't know. I've asked who got money, who was paid. I've asked for all expenditures. I've asked for all allocated, who was allocated to, who received any money, who was promised. Because a lot of the people are saying, you know, they didn't even call me back. You know, that my organization submitted to it. What we could have used was this money for infrastructure. One thing Congressman Kildee stated when he did Scripps News was that I feel that no matter how much money we could have backed the Brinks truck up to Flint, and it still wouldn't have been used right. And it's because of our leadership. I'm saying the leadership part. He said the Brinks truck. And it's correct. We don't know. And when he's saying, well, they know exactly who are the five that voted. I didn't vote on that. Absolutely wasn't supporting that. And so when we look at that, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I'm just saying. So another part of that was the police scale. So he's blaming the police, you know, us not supporting the police. And so can we put up the police scale? Because it's a crock, okay? Our police were paid the very lowest, and we know that it's a very high turnover rate. Why? Because of the fact that they're paid so low. This was the average police scale. So in the police scale, I'm gonna read it on mine because, you know, I can't. This press conference was a doozy. And I mean, it was that one was a doozy. So with the scale, Flint was literally the lowest paid in the county. So Flint's starting rate was $20.92. And so he got upset because we asked, what is the figures that this is going to cost for us to approve it? So Mayor Neely gets on there again and gaslights this community and tells lies. We have always supported them to get a fair wage. Why? Because they leave and they go to the University of Michigan rate. Starting rate was $28.34, $8 higher. Michigan State Police's was about $7 higher. Macomb County was about $8 higher. Grand Blanc starting rate was about $5 higher. Grand Blanc, that was the township and the police department. Burton Police was about $5 higher than Flint. Flushing, everybody's was higher than Flint. And so when we look at, you know, Flint did deserve better and a better rate, we're not saying that. We're saying to you, Mayor Neely, you come up here to city council in such a disrespectful way that you don't even give city council the figures which are required. We are not there to rubber stamp his agenda with no figures, no numbers, no projecting how much it's going to cost. They didn't have it. Okay, so how much is it going to cost? And where does this go back to? You know, is it prorated? You know, how much? And we're asking them, how much is it prorated from our, you know, or ask them how much it's going to cost. They said they didn't have any figures. Okay, then bring it back and then we'll go through, but we need those figures. Is it $1 million? Is it 2? Is it 3? You know, is it 800,000? You know, how many people is this going to affect? They come up to city council unprepared. And this is what they've been doing since 2020, since 19, he got elected for the balance of 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and into 26. And this is where the buck seems to have stopped. Once Candace was president and Dale was saying, I'm going to do my job now. And the people have been done an injustice because now they're saying, how much is this going to cost? We know that they would do call for the question and it didn't matter. Who was he blaming that $40 million on of the ARPA? He said city council, and that's going to be the city council members who voted to put that $40 million in there, which he said it was absorbed into the general fund. They know exactly where that money went. You mean the 5 who were rubber stamping your agenda, the 5 who rubber stamped your agenda, and he's blaming them for it now because he doesn't take responsibility. So he used them to blame them later. He used them to vote that 5 to blame them later, and later is now. And so when we ask how much is this going to cost the officers, because we have to know, he completely misconstrued that. First thing I always ask, and Chief Green asked about morale. I have consistently asked him, you go back to the budget hearings, how is morale? And I also asked the fire chief too, because the morale, they get worn down. Some work 8 hours, some work 12-hour shifts. It depends on what your position is in the police department. And fire works 24-hour shifts. They get burned out physically and mentally. You can only run to so many gunshots and so many homicides, and they get it's a faster rate of burnout. Other municipalities go to about 4 or 5 calls in a night or in a shift. Flint can be 25 to 30. As it gets warm, unfortunately, it goes up. And so when we look at this and how it happens, you got to ask about morale. Not one person said, we're not supporting the police. And if there's any police watching, y'all should have went for higher, because council feels you deserve better to get qualified workers. Mayor Neely and them who negotiated this rate, and they didn't get your best rate, because you're going to be a bullet point, and he's going to ask the police officers union to support him. He didn't go to bat for y'all. He got what he thought would be acceptable. He don't mind that you're still you're not the highest rate. You're doing the most calls. You should be in the top 3 or the top 5. That wasn't his concern. You have become a bullet point. He's going to ask the police union to endorse him for a deal that wasn't great. We don't even have figures, because he wants to say, look, I stabilized the water fund. Okay, no, you didn't. You did not. You pushed it down the road, but you're going to lie on your literature. Police officers who do 4 to 5 calls and get a higher rate. Flint does that 25 to 30, that they're running from across town to across one side to the other. And your rate isn't higher. It's the ones who don't even get the most calls. He didn't fight for y'all. What he did is played the police. City council is saying, hey, we want to make sure you're compensated fairly for what you do. And I'm sorry for the officers that have had to be in city council chambers who really wanted to be out there working, building a relationship with the community and helping to reduce crime, when they got you in city council chambers arresting residents sitting in seats, arresting residents because you may have seen arresting residents and violating residents' First Amendment rights at the same time, which making up fake council rules. I mean, let's say this. Somebody says, that's your first warning. Okay, that's your second warning. You're out of here. And then people have been arrested in just that manner. People haven't forgotten. Candace Machat owes this community an apology. Liddell Lewis owes this community an apology. Judy Priestley owes this community an apology for how the residents were treated. They owe this community an apology. And apologies need to be given. They need to be given to this community. We didn't forget, and they didn't forget. You know how many times that I had to call over to the sheriff's department to check on someone who was arrested for being at a city council meeting for their First Amendment right, when they wanted to censure free speech? How many people's free speech was censored? They became drunken with power and position while they were, we're the leadership. Grown folks and respectable leaders bring the people in. They have conversations. They became drunken with power and position and did not care. And so when we look at this, it hasn't changed. They didn't change. They're just much kinder now because they've got several people running against them. And so when we talk about how do we look for solutions, solution number 1 with the water, we need to see what we can do with that loan. We need to see for the balance of that contract. We also need to see what's really left in ARPA. We do not know. I'm telling you. Liddell Lewis is asking, Jonathan Jarrett is asking, Dennis Pfeiffer is asking, Jerry Wilfred Carter is asking. I've sent so many emails. I don't know how many. I can take all the way back. How much in the ARPA fund? What is it allocated to? Who's been paid out of ARPA? Because I wanted to bring folks back up to see where was it spent. I've been told people with community block grant dollars ain't spent it the way they were supposed to spend it. That whole department left. I mean, we got people who saying they similar to that. I'm like, well, what are you still doing here? I thought you worked in that department. No, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Okay, so you got 3 jobs and you never done that before? Because we can't keep the talent. People keep quitting. They keep quitting. They don't want to work. So our police are deserving. How are you going to give them a rate that's still not even equal to the people doing 4 to 5 calls? You got 25 to 30. Help that make sense. They can't even keep up. And they get burnt out. But it'll be a bullet point. So police officers, he's going to be asking y'all to endorse him. He's going to dangle your job over your head. It's going to be dangled over your head. And in order to keep your job, he's going to tell you how great of a job and what he did for you. If he did something so great, why are you not in the top 3? It should be the top pay. You run more calls in the city of Flint than any other municipality that's on this list. Flint runs more calls than U of M, Flint, Michigan State Police, than any of them. Burton, Grand Blanc Township, Flushing, Fenton. Flint runs more calls and your pay is not reflective of it. And he's going to dangle it over your head and say, you got to endorse me. I'm going to be the only one to look out for you. See what I did? And that's what he's going to do. He's going to tell you how great he is, like he's telling the residents. He done called them in the office. I ain't never seen you go for interview. People saying that they got to go down to the mayor's office because he makes you indebted to him. And that's why they quit like that. People quit like that. People quit like that. And so it's going to happen. Our police officers deserve more. If they were treated like they should never be in council chambers. They should never be. Not like that. We had Metcalf, wasn't any problems with Metcalf for years. And then Officer Villarreal. They were demoted because of Liddell and Candace. They did that. We didn't forget. We didn't forget. They were removed, which might have been a blessing for both of them. I'm not for sure about that. But you went after them because they wouldn't arrest residents. The power drunkenness was just crazy to me. But it's time now. They're going to be nice, like I said, because they're running again. And what we need to do is hold them accountable. Our police do deserve better. If you are running more calls than any other municipality, your rate of pay should have been higher. He didn't do anything for you. He barely did what he needed to get by to force the police officers union to endorse him. He barely did enough to get by with pay to make sure the police officers union endorses him. And I hope they don't fall for the okie-doke. I hope that they don't. And the union president, Kramer, I hope you're not falling for this. You stood up there and he didn't fight for you. He did what he needed to do for you to be a bullet point on there, because the calls that they run does not equate to what your pay should be, period. It's just not. It's just not. So listen, look, click like, share, subscribe. And then if you can donate to JEatonMedia, because I could not do this without Jonathan. I could not do this without him. JEatonMedia, it is $ up there. And ask Jonathan, and he does a lot of work. He is on it tonight. We have not did a show and I don't know when. And I appreciate what he does. I truly, truly do. And so I do want to go over, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. I do want to let's put up it's in red. Let's talk about those golf courses, because when it comes to corruption in this administration, you can't make this up. You can't make it up. You just can't make it up. And so when we talk about the corruption, now this is actually them golf courses. They'll be grooming, and they might have already started because we had some warm weather. They were grooming the lands. Kersley Lake and Swartz Creek are the golf course. We talked about this. Those contracts have never made it to council. So Jonathan, I believe it's in red, and it states, and I will wait till he gets that up. Jonathan, let me know when you get that up. So listen, if you can donate to JEatonMedia, that goes for Jonathan to help make sure that we can get the new. There we go. So, and it's down at the bottom of the scroll too, where if you could donate to, please. So it says, this is in the email. Hello, Clyde. That's going to be for our Kersley Lake and our Swartz Creek. Swartz Creek has 2 golf courses, an 18-hole and a 9-hole. And it also has a bar, a licensed bar, and it also has a clubhouse. And they never make any money. Never. The deal came in just underneath that $75,000 threshold. This deal has went for the past 3 or 4 years. Was not passed by council. Wasn't passed by council. This deal is about as corrupt as it could be. Hello, Clyde. This was from, she quit. She quit. Emily Dorr quit. Tyler Bailey quit. Who else in that department? I think that whole department is just about going. They quit. They've seen some things. So hello, Clyde. Despite multiple proposals and recommendations to the administration advising against contracting with Frank Prekatis, and this isn't Frank Prekatis' issue. I mean, Frank wants to do the job. He had the golf courses. He had 2 golf courses for $15,000 per year for 10 years. That was because of emergency management. So he was able to lease both golf courses at $7,500 apiece for 10 years. That contract came up, and we have not approved one. Council has not approved one since then. Mayor Neely has been going backdoor, and they dealing a lot of clash. They got that 420, is it 420 the weed day where you go out there and smoke? You know, if we're supposed to split the profits, never been split. And so we have not approved. They don't come before council. And this is I can't even say it. Well, I'm gonna say this. I believe it was bid rigging at a point, because I know that there were people who bid high. One company bid $1 million for over 10 years. They were turned down. You had another one said they would do it at $45,000 for each year. They were turned down. We had Davies Golf 2 years ago, who was the highest bid. They were turned down. The highest bidders never get it year after year after year after year. So I'm gonna read this because this is corruption. This is corruption. Hello, Clyde. Despite multiple proposals and recommendations to the administration advising against contracting with Frank Prekatis, this administration has decided to continue with the agreement with Flint Golf for another year. I cannot manage this agreement while fulfilling my community services duties for several reasons. This was a department head. Number 1, Flint City Golf has failed to provide comprehensive financials for Dino's Bar, the bar, you know, it's a bar there, for Dino's Bar and Grill, various events, including unauthorized cannabis events, and the Golf Pro Shop, despite multiple requests. So they've been asking for the financials, and which had to have been since, was it 22? Never received the financials, never received them. Now, this is a department head, Mrs. Harris. 2, our tax assessor has indicated that an entity like Flint Golf should pay property taxes when profiting from publicly owned property. Okay, the tax assessor said and has indicated that Flint Golf should pay property taxes when profiting from publicly owned property, your publicly owned property, which is not occurring. Instead, the city is paying them. So the city, and let me correct this, if I said it before, let me correct. The city is paying them $72,000. Okay, city pays them $72,000 to run the golf courses. Now, tell me what deal could be worse than this. They're not paying us. The city's paying them $72,000 to run it. Okay. This arrangement allows Mr. Prekatis to generate personal profit from city-owned and property at taxpayers' expense with no accountability. Several things here. 1, this is a city-owned property. 2, the city is paying their company, Flint Golf, $72,000. There's supposed to be a 50-50 split for profits. I've asked, they haven't received them yet. And that's since what? This is to be their 3rd year going into this contract. There hasn't been any 50-50 split. No profits have been shared or seen. It's just below the scale of the $75,000. It's coming in at $72,000. So can you say corrupt your tax dollars, your money, your buildings? We paying them $72,000. The tax assessor said he should not be able to profit off of publicly owned property. How is this company allowed to profit off of publicly owned property? Publicly owned. This is in the email. And y'all can phone you, ask about it. You know, we've talked about it. When you ask them, we don't know. We're going to check into that. I'm unaware of that. It's not true. Well, there's the email. And here's the thing. They've left so many people and did this city so wrong that people are tired of it. And people want to see Flint win, but we can't see Flint win under this administration. What does he do when something goes wrong? He blames city council. So what is he probably? He's going to blame this on council too. He's going to probably blame council that he made this agreement for $72,000. And his signature is on this one. His signature is on this contract. Mayor Neal's signature is on this bogus contract. It's on there. It is on there. And so when we look at these contracts, how is this helping the city? It's not. It's not. Everything is done in the dark, down into his office where they like to meet. Come down there, where they say, hey, Flint is a honeypot. Flint is a honeypot, because this is a honeypot deal right here. This will make Winnie the Pooh happy. This like Winnie the Pooh sitting with the little honeypot with his little t-shirt on, stirring that little pot with that little wooden, little wooden spoon that he's. This is a sweetheart deal. This is a sweetheart deal. Council did not approve this. The contract did not come to city council. But you're going to get a rate hike. He going to leave office being a millionaire. I'm quite sure of that. Where's the profits for this? They've asked them, the tax assessor, the department heads have asked him, where are the financials for Flint Golf? He has failed to reveal them yet. Failed to produce them. Why does he still have this? This is costing the city. This is literally costing the city. And this is all Mayor Neely's deal. This is whose deal this is. So letting your corruption. And it just does. And then you can add that with the $40 million that he claims council. No. The 5 rubber stampers, they tell where's the money? What did when y'all went down individually, what did he say he was going to do with the $40 million that he says was absorbed into the general fund? Because right now he thinks that's just his money. I'm just saying, he thinks that's his money. So let's go on to the next one. Let's put up the video with a DPW confesses, y'all. Thank you, 810 Flint. Because this is another one, that priority race where when you get the video, I'll just stop talking. We can pull it up. So y'all remember the trash? We had Trash Gate. And so we had Priority Waste that their contract was believed to be about $9 million more than the other competitors. And he said, well, I didn't have to take the lowest bid. I could take the bid that was I forget the exact wording, the best deal that would work for Flint. And it didn't have to be the lowest deal. Well, there's not a real science to picking up trash. I mean, you take it to the curb, the truck comes by, they put it in the truck, they drive away. That's pretty much how it works. So what did we do? He took the deal with Priority, which was about, it's about $9 million more. So we had a trash hearing. There's a lot going on with the trash. We had the trash hearings. The trash hearings came, and it was interesting. It was interesting because Mr. Mike Brown was the DPW. March 17, 2023 was when he quit. He quit. He said, I'm done. It was, I believe, St. Patty's Day. He came, and that was his last day. Why? Because the mayor was yelling at him, man. The mayor was screaming in angry tirades. And it was all about a contract because Mike Brown stated he was told by the mayor to take the Priority, or was the Republic, the Republic contract, and shred it, to grab it off the CFO's desk, Shelby Freyer's, and to shred it. So John, did I send you the video? And was told to shred it. And he did. Thank you. So let's play this, y'all.
And you went and got the one off the desk where you had left.
Desk, yep.
And you did that.
I did that.
And
I put it there, and the secretary allowed me to go back in and take it back.
Mr. Brown, at some point after that, you as the department head gave a recommendation to contract with one company over another. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And your recommendation on the second request for proposal was Priority, correct?
The committee's recommendation was Priority, yes, sir.
Whose recommendation?
The committee.
The committee.
The evaluation committee.
Those are people who built out the score sheets.
Yes, sir.
And they gave you their individual verbal recommendation?
Again, in the second one, we did as the first. We had a sheet of paper with all 3 names, pencils. People just circled which one they liked the best, folded them up, put them into a container, mixed them up. Somebody else mixed them up, gave them to me, so I didn't know whose they were except for my own name. Opened them up, and for all 5 were for priority waste. So that's what the committee made the decision on and moved it forward.
So including yours, it would be 6.
No, 5.
So in the second evaluation team, it was 5.
Correct.
What is this negotiating committee? Can you shed some light on that? That was a different committee than the evaluation committee.
There is no negotiating committee. That's what somebody came up with in my committee and stated that I should put that on there because it's what's been done in the past. I found out that it was not done in the past, and I looked like a fool.
There's a memo went out about that negotiation committee. Are you familiar with that memo?
I wrote the memo.
And can you shed light on what you recall the memo to be?
Again, that was I wrote a recommendation in the first RFP to have 5 years and have add 2 people to the negotiating committee that purchasing would be putting together, because I was told that that would happen because it's a large contract, and that is not correct. And I was reprimanded about that also.
Reprimanded by who?
Verbally, by the mayor.
By the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, you testified that you got reprimanded of some sort during this process. Verbal reprimand.
I felt that's what it was, yes.
And did you ever get a written reprimand?
No, sir.
And you were verbally reprimanded for what?
For stating that because it was thought that I had given a contract out for 5 years to a company, and I put in there that we should have a negotiating committee to relook at it to save money.
And you went and took that off of somebody's desk, you testified.
I gave a copy, I sent an electronic copy to my boss and people on the committee. I put that on the desk of the CFO who wasn't here that day. Later on, I was told that I did it incorrectly. So I went and asked everyone to get rid of that letter, and I pulled it back and shredded it.
And you went and got the one off the desk where you had left
CFO desk, yep.
And you did that.
I did that.
And
I put it there, and the secretary allowed me to go back in and take it back.
And so, Mr. Brown, this verbal reprimand came from Mr. Edwards?
No, sir, that came from the mayor.
Why are you not getting powerful erections even after taking an ED medication? It comes down to how arousal really works.
And so
I can't remember if Mr. Edwards was present or not.
You can't recall whether
I don't remember if he was in the
not.
room at the time or just the mayor.
But he might have been.
He might have been.
And so that
I was focused on one person.
That was in the first bid process.
That was the first bid after the first recommendation.
And so from that point on, you answered to Mr. Edwards. You keep referring to him as your boss.
He is my supervisor. Yes, sir.
And his boss would be?
His boss is the mayor, as most people in here would know.
Well, we gonna find out. I don't know what Mario Mitchell know. I don't know what people in the city of Flint know, but we gonna find out, and they will know who's calling those shots. You know, correct?
I know who Mr. Edwards' supervisor is. Yes, and I've already stated that on record.
Yeah, and you also stated what everybody else might know, but I'm worried about what you know. Let me ask you this question, Mr. Brown. From that point on, you followed your boss' directions.
I've tried to follow my boss's directives since the day that I came into this city, yes.
Even on the second bid?
On the second bid, what was the question in regards to that?
You followed his directives.
I put the people on the committee as he asked, and then that committee was completely separate. And we did our evaluation. We came up with a company, and we recommended that company.
And then the people that he had asked you put on that committee. You testified you put them, and you've also testified that you put their evaluations in an envelope and gave them to your boss
That is correct.
without looking at them, correct?
I did not peruse them. I just put them in there because that was their numbers. My thing was to find out who we all agreed. And we did that, as I stated, with a vote of a piece of paper with the 3 companies on it in pencils, so nobody could be told. I couldn't figure out handwriting, and just circled it. So when I looked at that and then destroyed them, put them through the shredder after that meeting.
Mr. Brown, I didn't ask you that, but I can accept your long answer. I asked you specifically about your boss and what you turned into him. Now let's go to what you did after that. After that, you recommended to purchasing who your boss told you to, correct?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's 6:35. We've been here now over 90 minutes.
Okay. Can you indulge me for a couple more questions? Mr. Brown, is it a fact that once your boss took those evaluations, he came back to you and told you who to recommend?
That is incorrect.
Okay, so he never told you who to recommend.
No, he did not. We had recommended, we had already written that paperwork. As soon as that meeting was over with, I started to put it together.
Well, what did he need the evaluations for?
No.
Okay,
I can't
Mr.
answer that
Belzer,
question
go
'cause I don't
ahead.
know why he
Ask the
needed them,
question, Mr. Belzer. Because you've already testified, I think earlier, that you communicated with him. And he made a recommendation, but go ahead,
I did not
Mr.
say
Belzer.
that.
Well, I don't know if you did. I have to check the record.
Mr. Brown, did anybody tell you to destroy any of these things? You said you shredded some papers, the tabulation where everybody circled. Did anybody tell you to destroy any of these papers or to shred anything?
I was told to get rid of the original bid documents in the first bid because it was done incorrectly.
Who
And,
told you that? I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm pretty sure that was Shelby Frere, and that we didn't want anyone to get that information so that nobody had an advantage when the next bid was going out. And it was expected that it would be going out shortly after it was notified that the bid was done incorrectly.
Okay, well then what about the other sheets where everybody circled in pencil?
Okay, those I shredded after we were done. People could look at them in the committee, and then I shredded them because there wasn't a need to hold on to those because it was unanimous.
Did anybody tell you to shred them?
No, I just did that on my own.
Mr. Brown, did you fear for your job during this process?
During the reprimand, honestly, yes, at that time. And then it was told to me later that he was upset about something that didn't happen, and that was fine.
But ultimately, you made the recommendation of priority over Green for Life.
The committee voted on it, and I put that forward to purchasing. That is correct.
Listen, in all seriousness, I want to recap a couple things. And look, if you're watching, click like, share, and subscribe. Hit them like buttons. Hit those. I don't even know how many likes it is, but I know it should probably be much more than it is. And thank you to the Facebook watchers. I had time to click over. And 810 Flint, thank you. I did not know that Xavier had completed this information, and he did. And I was appreciative that he did complete it, and it was done a while ago because we could not find the footage. The footage had been removed from the city website. The actual city one it was removed from. And so being able to have this and to find this, because we're going to talk about this again too, because I requested the transcripts. I couldn't get them. I requested the email because this is when Mrs. Brown was there. I asked to have Mrs. Brown's email because there was a stenographer that was there writing because these were our hearings, and I could not and have not to date received those. So Xavier, I don't know where you got this from, but bravo to you, because this is what we're tired of in this city. Everyone is taken care of but the residents. Help does not reach into the neighborhoods, into the people. What he said was Mike Brown, DPW director, quit. He resigned, he retired, he was done. He was mistreated, people are yelled at, and he quit. So what did he say? He shredded the documents. They didn't want the documents, the prior bid to be seen. He went into the CFO's office, Shelby Freyer, grabbed it all. The secretary allowed her to go in there, and he grabbed the documents and he shredded them. He was reprimanded by the mayor, and he said he did fear for his job. You should never have to fear for his job. You know how many times I heard people say that they fear for their job, and how he goes off and how he yells and screams. And Mike Brown was so nervous during this time. He said he feared for it. He said that he put the people on the committee that the mayor asked. So the mayor had certain people he wanted on the committee. And wasn't any surprise that he stacked it and they voted unanimous? No. He told Mike Brown who to put on the committee. He was under oath at this time, sitting next to an attorney who was represented. Barry Wolf was his attorney that the city did pay for, and this was under oath in we call the trash hearings. He said the mayor told him who to put on there, and then they voted unanimous. Well, he stacked the board, so of course. He said then he gave the evaluations to the mayor. They said, get rid of the original bid. We don't even want to get those. And he feared for his job. I could not find that for years, y'all. Thank you to the late Councilman Eric Mays, because he only received 5 votes to complete this. Judy Priestley was not the finance chair then. I was. We have not any truth or transparency since then. She decided to not vote to keep this going because the mayor knew this was a problem then. Judy Priestley sold this community out. She had that removed. We couldn't continue the trash hearings. She took back her 5th vote. She took it back. At that point, whatever he offered her, she got. Judy, how you pay cash for that kitchen? We still want to know. We couldn't finish the trash hearings because of Judy. We could not. When it got this deep, I believe this was maybe the last day of it, and she would not continue it. Now, I don't want him asking questions. This is not what I want to do. They got to her. And so when we have government who don't worry about the people, and it's always about themselves. This man said he feared for his job. Mike Brown said that the mayor told him who to put on the committee to vote for the trash company. He said it. That was his testimony. He said they told him to go grab the contract and shred it. So when we talk about corruption, let's add this to those golf courses. Never seen a bar at a golf course that doesn't make money. I never seen it. Our golf clubs is right here. I don't golf, but when you go to the golf course, you own those carts and you have cocktails. You just do. That is the best part about it. I'm not good at golf. My golf clubs are pink. I golf to do business on the golf course. I've been doing that for over 25 years because that's where a lot of business is made and deals, on the golf course. And that's why I started. And I don't golf. I'm on the golf course. And look, I got outfits and golf clubs, and I will drive the cart. But you go to the bar, they get your little pack or whatever, and your ice and everything's set, and you off on the golf cart. You got 18 holes. And one has Swartz Creek has one with 18 holes and another with 9, and a bar and a restaurant. And they have what they don't have is any profits. Why would we keep having a company that we have that doesn't make any profits? We don't. We just not getting them, in my opinion. But that trash contract, that's another issue. Now he wants to blame us for this, the Gleewood deal. You knew coming in that you had to deal with that. You knew coming in that we had an issue with that. It wasn't a secret. You knew. You got all those years of experience, and y'all can't come up with a plan. Can't come up with a plan. and don't have a plan. The plan is blame council, blame council, blame council. You know, council was absent. I'm not going down to your little room where you're talking about your little honey pot. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. You want to talk, let's come talk where all 9 of us could be in a room to work for a solution. This mayor does not, he gave us 1 minute last year during budget hearing, 1 minute to ask a question. What the hell are you going to ask in a minute? The disrespect, but you want to talk in private. I want to know why we pay Flint Golf $72,000 and they still don't have no profits. I want to know that. I want to know that. Leadership matters, and we deserve better leadership. And we can keep going on, and we're going to keep going on with our series of where is the corruption. And not only are we going to see, I'm bringing it so you can see, if you're going to do something with the water fund, where's the $40 million that the 5 rubber stampers voted for? Where is that money at? You know, I didn't vote for it. If you're going to do something, how much would it take to balance it out so we don't carry that cost over to the duration of that contract for the next 20 years? How much does that cost? They never come with any answers. They never have any figures. They never have any numbers. They never have any plans. And he will go on and use the media to lie. To lie. He hasn't come to council. He has not. But he uses the press as his whipping boy against city council. And the ones who sit there quietly, who still, you know, he pit those council members against their other colleagues. I got Judy Priestley voted for me and Candace Machat. Okay, well, they should have been asking questions. I'm quite sure people in 4th and 7th Ward want to know, if you got 40 million and you only given 1 million to stabilize it, and then Mr. Moore says 27, 28, we're going to have a real problem. How about start working on it when you start in 2019, or maybe 2020, or maybe 2021, 22, 23, or 24, 25. We in 26 and you still don't have a plan. Why won't we have a plan for the golf courses? Bid it out, highest bidder get it. You're not getting it a benefit. Those are profits could be used to offset the water fund. How you got a bar don't make no money and you still in business? Help me with that. How do you have a bar on a golf course that hasn't made any profits and you're still in business? You don't. Who's getting the profits? Who's getting them? So listen, asking everyone, look, I couldn't have did any of this without Jonathan. So if y'all could please donate to JEatonMedia, because we're going to start back doing the shows. And like the mayor said, I want people to come to council and call your council people and tell them. Well, thank you, Valerie Southall, because she got out there and she said, Mayor Neely said, call my council person, or contact my council person, and I'm contacting my council person because he stated I need to. And by the way, you're doing a great job, Councilwoman Burns. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Valerie. And I had several others who said, he said, contact my council person. And they said, I'm contacting you that you keep checking them. Contact them. I'm contacting you. Make them tell the truth. Contacting them that we want our money. We still mad as hell about them $1,000 checks. Contact your council person. Keep your foot on their neck, Tonya Burns, because all he do is lie. And so when we talk about these things, he don't have those 5 votes where they say, call for the question. We ain't had nobody thrown out of council chamber since, you know, this little switch up. Nobody been thrown out and no one's been arrested. I'm quite sure that underneath Sheriff Swanson, Mike Takarchik, I ain't had to call him and say, hey, are you still holding that person over there, because they had them arrested. And so when we look at these things, it affects our community. Jonathan, leave that up, your pay. Leave that up, please. And so when we do these things, it's a problem. We need to have transparent, truthful, honest government. If it's going up, don't gaslight this community. We're not accepting that. So please come to council. We're going to talk about them golf courses. Why are they not being paid for that? This is money that should be coming. He needs to be telling the truth. How much is in that? We don't know who been paid out of ARPA. When Liddell is agreeing, Liddell Lewis is agreeing, You know it's a problem. She's agreeing. And so when we have this problem, and it's a serious one, and them contracts, imagine if we took the $9 million from the bid that we overpaid and used that to pay off the water fund to help balance it. $9 million goes a long ways. He only want to do $1 million. What if we did $9 million? You know, we got to quit letting people, you know, these are dirty politics, whatever it's word. No, he's using politics on you. And you deserve to know the truth. This community was poisoned for 18 months. People drank the water. They said, oh, don't pay attention to that. It's brown. You know, it's beige or tan or whatever the color, or it's rust. The water's good. We should have never switched over to the Flint River. And thank you to Mayor Karen Weaver for calling the public health emergency and making sure that things start the ball running, because that took leadership. Sometimes, you know, you cannot be the silent person in the room. You got to be bold. You got to speak out, because when we don't speak out, we end up with them telling us, oh, $1 million. You've been in there for 6-7 years. You ain't got a damn plan. We tired of your planless behind. We tired of the why is this bar not making money? And we gonna keep going. Somebody went and got a contract. You stacked the board with the trash. You told the department head who to put on the board, and surprise, they voted unanimous because you stacked the board. And we can keep going. So when you won't change, this is election year. It's time that we change things. It's time to get people in those seats who are gonna tell you the truth. It's time. He said that all the service lines are complete. Not only did I call, they said 900 more service lines, 800 more restorations. And then Arthur Woodson posted with Eric Oswald when he said, no, they're not done. And so we got to quit letting people gaslight and lie to us. He's going to sit up there, he's going to tell the police officer, it's the best pay you got. They run and work 5 times harder than any other municipality, and you're just coming up to their 2 or 3 year other rate. Come on. You're not doing nothing great for them. You're not. We now have, and I like Dr. Eric Scarsoni. I do like him. He's back. He's emergency. He was the architect of emergency management. 2012, he was here. 2019, he came back. In 2026, he's back, and he's the finance manager. I requested to have him come up because he's working down. I got some questions for him. Because when Mr. Moore get nervous, we ain't understanding anything he's about to say. Nothing. Do we have some figures? No. Where's your plan? Where's your plan? Where is your plan? Did Judy say, where's the plan? Did Candace say, where's your plan? They didn't. So look at the ones who aren't talking and asking. We deserve better. We don't have people who are fighting for us. We don't. Not in this administration. So look, I make sure y'all donate, because Jonathan does. I come up with a lot of stuff because I read, and I have 4 weeks of reading, and way longer than I wanted to, and I'm a reader. And it takes collaboration. I don't get a dime that comes. Everything goes directly to him. Everything goes to him for what he's doing, because he cares about our community. He cares. But this takes time. He has to buy software, and he has to do certain things, and it's his time. And so if you can just drop him a little bit of nugget, it can be $2, it could be $5. Whatever you do, it could be $20, it could be $100. If you're feeling real good, give him $1,000. Because I appreciate what Jonathan does. I appreciate it. And when we produce in these shows, they take time. And then there's a run of show. I don't just get on here and just not have my topics together. And we're going to talk about it. And it's things that people have been asking that I'm bringing you answers to. We need a plan. We need to be solution. It's time the residents start winning. Only people winning is this administration. It's only this administration. And like I said on there, people saying, what happened with these community block grant dollars? There's community block grant dollars, and I'm going to send y'all this. This is one that's on the list. I don't understand how they are even, I don't even understand how they even on the list to get funds. I swear I don't. And these are the things, that they're going to want us to approve tomorrow. And approving this would be really kind of insane, because some of these people, they're not even in good standing. And I'm like, how can you be asking us to approve something that's on the list to be approved, and it's not even in good standing? And so it take a lot of work because of the vetting process. None of that community block grant dollars should not be approved. And we're going to put this up here. I'm sending you this, Jonathan, and if you can pop that up. And so this is just the way you do business in Flint. Another thing I'm tired of, business people don't want to do business with the city of Flint. They don't want to do business with the city of Flint, and they take their business to other places like Grand Blanc, Burton, and other places. And we need to make sure that we can attract and retain businesses. And people don't want to come here because they feel they're getting a shakedown. Yes, I've talked to people. I got to give to his campaign fund. I got to give something. He wants me to donate. Yes, they said in some of the black contractors, like, you don't do it at the end. He's like, I'm coming to make money. And I don't have it. And I don't have it, but they want me to come give money before I even get a contract. That's a problem. And we have to change that. Flint should be a vibe like Detroit. Flint is Detroit's little sister, and we're not feeling like we're feeling like a third world little city. We don't feel like there's hope or help because they lied to us, and we supposed to believe. So I'm glad that they're saying, come on down to city council. Thank you, Neely, for making sure that you did the call out, because we're going to tell those people the truth tomorrow. They're going to learn the truth. They are. They are. So, Jonathan, did that come through? If you got it, when it pops up, so donate to $JEatonMedia Cash App. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, thank you. So here's a company. They're on the list to be paid. They're on the list. And what it states, are they in standing? Good standing? Not good. They're not even approved. Why? And they're not the only one. There's other companies. Why are we giving them federal dollars, community block grant dollars, and they're not even in good standing? I mean, this is the foolery that this administration does. They're not in good standing. And there's others. So when we have this, who's watching over you? Who's doing? I mean, this should not be happening. Who's, our community block grant dollars? And so I'm just saying. And so we're going to keep talking about things because, it's time to change the ship around. It's like the Titanic hit the iceberg, but then they keep resurrecting it and running into the same iceberg again. It's too much. It has to change. And it's time to change the direction that we are going. This is election season. We can't keep saying, we got we won't change, do something, get involved, come to city council. Look, call your council members and ask them, and don't be accusatory like he want them to do. Why aren't you paying this $1 million? My ward, in other words, look, when I was sick, people did not stop calling me, and I couldn't even talk, really. They're like, oh, you sound bad, and I had that all the time. And this is my good one, because people want answers. And they want trusted sources from where they get the answers from. And they are deserve that. But tell me how we're going to approve community block grant when the list that they got has not even been vetted. Has not been vetted. I'm just saying. So I'm going to end with this, y'all. Please donate. This is on the list tomorrow, and tune in tomorrow to the Mayor Neely sent the call out. Yeah, come out. My ward is pissed at you, and other ones, because they tired of being lied to. They'll learn the truth. These are some smart people out here, and they're not buying, the mess that he's selling. They're not, and they shouldn't. You don't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, you are planning to fail. He didn't have a plan for the duration of 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. He ain't got a plan for 26. And so it's enough of not having a plan, because your water rates are going to go up. We can hold it off. No, what can you do for the balance of the contract? How much does it take to stabilize that? How much money do we need to put into that? What does that figure look like? What about us terminating that? Can we absolve it? What can we do? They don't have any answers. They don't have any answers. And so when they don't have any answers, he blames council. I'm not letting you, you don't get to blame me, because I'm going to fight back. I'm going to fight for the people. I'm going to fight for what's right. I may not be perfect, and Lord knows I'm not, but what I do stand on, I have not changed. I'm gonna be transparent and I'm gonna share with all of you. And that's why I need you to share the show. I need you to help boost this algorithm. It don't cost you a dime. And even if those, who watching just to see, we don't see that y'all can hit it. Just hit the like button. Help to shoot this out to the algorithm, because we deserve good government, good policy. We deserve people who represent Flint, who care. We deserve honest elected officials. We deserve that. No other place in city is like Flint that's had a public health crisis where for 18 months the people were poisoned, and poisoned by their own government. Emergency management will refuse to pay to treat the water. But it was about $100 a day. And they didn't treat the water. And now all of you, if you got that $1,000 check, remember them $1,000 checks come out, everybody didn't get them. Your life and your property damage, because some not getting anything for health, majority are not, because you got to prove that the water was the cause. Then not on top of you getting $1,000 check, you got to pay taxes on the $1,000 check. Now y'all remember Neely saying, this isn't the bottom, this isn't the top, this isn't the bottom. You remember him saying that, right? Right? Y'all remember that, because I do. He did. This is not the end, the bottom or the top or whatever it was. And he got people believing, he was doing all this great stuff for Flint. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna catch the all-star receiver, and then we're gonna shut it down after this one. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. We are stuck with this. They made the water crisis go away. They told us and been telling, and it's all of us, that the water isn't it's safe. You can do backstrokes in it, and listen. I can't even carry water right now. So I've had people bringing me stuff, and I'm gonna say to the twins, Debbie and Diane came over and told me when I was sick, "You look so bad." I'm like, "Thank you for that." She was like, "I should take a picture of you." I'm like, "No, you're not taking a picture of me." She was like, "You look bad." I was really sick, y'all. But the thing is, we cannot. When you stuck in your house, you need water. I was stuck in my house and couldn't go get water. I had to have someone, because I brush my teeth with bottled water. I cook, clean my food off with bottled water. I wash my dishes, and I do my laundry with water. And I shower. My shower has a filter, and I'm in and I'm out. I'm not in there just, and I don't wash my hair in the water. I do not. And so when I was stuck in the house and you used to run it, I couldn't go get my own water. I buy bottled water and I buy jugs of water when I cook. But let's meet the person who said, they're gonna make sure we all okay. And then after this, we're gonna start that video. I don't know who made this video, but thank you.
And the governor, they will have an all-star receiver, so they can throw the ball and we'll get the ball and we'll take it into the end zone and we'll get a win for the people.
Do you think Governor Snyder should be charged with something?
Yes, I think he should be charged with something. What that something is, I do not know. But Dennis Muchmore was his chief of staff when this all broke out, and if you remember reading some of the communications between Muchmore and the governor at that particular time, it showed a level of a lack of empathy that what was going on in the city of Flint. So, I believe he should be, but what level of culpability he has, that's still left to be determined.
Well, are you going to charge him for lack of empathy?
Well, if it's a criminal charge, yes, but I don't think it is. But I think whatever criminal cases may occur, from this with Dana Nesso, I'm not for sure if he should be charged with a criminal crime, but definitely he should be held accountable for something.
You want to hang up?
Okay. We know that them $1,000 checks was not a win for the people. It was not a win for the people. They threw the ball, he caught it, and you got a $1,000 check with a 1099 that you got to pay taxes on. And everybody didn't get the $1,000 check. He caught the ball, and you got a $1,000 check where you got to pay taxes on being poisoned. You got to pay taxes on your property damage. You had to replace your water heater. You had to change your dishwasher. You had to get a new refrigerator because if your water ran through it, where you had the water and the ice, you had to change your fixtures throughout your house. You had to buy a new washing machine because it rusted the drums out where you wash your clothes. And you got $1,000 check for property damage. He caught the ball. And that's what he passed on to you, the residents. It's time for change. Got to stop letting him gaslight this community. Come down to city council so you can learn the truth. Our all-star receiver mayor must have caught the ball and ran the other way because we're not winning in Flint. Residents aren't winning. We're not winning. And we need a leadership who, one, can tell the truth. Two, stop gaslighting this community. Three, care about the people and show it with your results. If he cared, he needs to be in city council chambers speaking. They'll send your representatives. He sent a representative to speak for the water rate hikes going up. Amanda came and spoke for 1 minute and 46 seconds. 1 minute and 46 seconds is what your mayor felt was worth representation. When that contract was signed 30 years or 2017 for 30 years, we were guaranteed a seat at the table, which means with GLEWA, we had someone to speak for us. There is no one speaking for us. We don't have a seat at the table. Mayor Neely didn't go down there. He wasn't even on the line. He didn't have to go. You could be on the line. He could have mailed something and they would have read it. He didn't come. He didn't speak. The city administrator didn't speak. The deputy chief of staff didn't speak. Flint had no representation for your water rates going up. We were guaranteed to have a seat at the table when the signing of the contract. Why didn't Mayor Neely make sure we were represented? Why didn't he make sure we had a voice at the table, which was guaranteed in the contract, to make sure they understood Flint's unique problems? Because he's worried about himself. He's worried about a bar at a golf course that ain't making no money to sell alcohol. His priorities are confused. It's not you, that's his priorities. Everything he do, we know the playbook. He'll blame council. Hold him accountable. It's time for new leadership. Look, I want y'all to please donate to, make sure that you can donate to JEatonMedia. Because I want to know where's our, and look, y'all know I sent the email. Where's our leadership? We're supposed to get a seat on that board. It's time to start holding people accountable. Jonathan, thank you to you, Jonathan, for everything that you've done, and to Sheena Beckton and to Patrick Jean, my two moderators. And I believe Stephanie Ryder's in here. Thank you, Stephanie, for being in here, and everyone else, because this is really all about you. I told y'all I'm not going to be on all night because y'all done rolled with me so late before that I'm going to start coming on more in the week. I was told when they said to get rest, I got to start resting, y'all. You know, but I didn't have some time to rest. And I want to make sure I make information available to you. I want to make sure that I'm making it available so that you can see it, and providing supplemental documentation that you will have it and you will see it. I'm going to continue to do that because we need to quit letting people play in our face and play with us and tell us one thing and do another. That's why I take the time to put it up on the screen, and I come with the information and the documents and the receipts, because you deserve that. You deserve this. This city was poisoned for 18 months, and they told y'all nothing was wrong with the water. That's insanity. So to each and every one of you who are on here, if I did not call your name, wait a minute. I see some people. Berta Bickman, Jessica, how you doing? Look, now my voice almost gone. Let me turn this back. Listen, I got to turn. Merck 76. I am going to call these names because I appreciate y'all. I do. Michelle Young, Reed Johnson. Hey. I did say Avis Hopkins earlier. Philip Johnson, Christine Leach. Y'all, wait. It ain't gonna let me go back too far, y'all. But I can go back to take some look. But I want y'all to, pay attention, because some of this stuff is just crazy. I cannot. Somebody put, ain't no way it's halfway crooks. Mom D. Y'all was cutting up in this chat. Oh, Lord. Anyways, look, I appreciate each and every one of y'all and those who donate, and those. Thank you, Stephanie, for the $9.99. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh Lord, listen, I appreciate each and every one of y'all, and I appreciate y'all commenting, because when we comment, the one thing that we know that is we become better. Hey, Jasmine 176, thank you, and we're gonna continue to bring this stuff to you. And I want to say 810 Flint, thank you for fighting that video. That we know that trash contract where the board was stacked, we paid $9 million more. Where the department head Mike Brown said he was told to go get that contract and to shred it. I couldn't find it. It was removed from the city side. So I'm going to thank you to everybody. And y'all, we going to, I don't know what day we're going to be back on. So look, hit the notification bell so that you will know. Because that's one thing, Sheena Beck said, hit the notification, click like, share, and hit that notification bell. Because we got some stuff to catch up on. And so we're going to catch up on it. We got some stuff to catch on. So to each and every one of you, I know y'all will be watching tonight. We'll be streaming live tomorrow at the council, where Mayor Neely has sent people to come talk to us. Well, let's talk. I want to know why you got a bar on the golf course ain't making no money. That's the best part of the golfing. So listen, we're going to get out of here. Jonathan, thank you. I appreciate you. And to each and every one of you, I send y'all love and peace and happiness. And I thank y'all for your support. Those who pray for me to get better. The voice is much better. I do feel a lot better, y'all. I do. So to each and every one of you, I love y'all. You tell people that you love them today, because there's just been so many things been going on. Tell people you love them today and appreciate them today. So I love all of y'all, and thank you for sharing your time. Jonathan, we out of here.
It's the Tonya Burns Show. Tune in right now. Like and share. Our city needs that vibe. Flint City News got truth to share. When we fight the darkness, we repair. Won't give up, we're standing tall and proud. Voices rising strong, no longer shrouded. Residents deserve what's right and fair. Together we can lift the despair. We fight, we win, we break the chains. Tonya Burns won't stand down in the rain. Our city dreams will make them true. With